I always love to tell people you need to have these memorized because this is your life. Okay, when things are going good, you're comfortable, things are safe, all good. You don't need to be like prepared or anything. But then as soon as like the shit hits the fan, and things start to go bad, you will panic, and you need to know all the feelings you want to feel, all the physical resources you have to help you, what you need, what you're able to do. You need to know that so that when the shit hits the fan, you're ready. You think, right, I'm not going to be affected. Now's the perfect time. Like, if you have this memorized, you won't be affected by the coronavirus. You won't be affected by all the people that are just panicking and terrified about the future. You will be unaffected by it. I mean, that's what brings us down. I would say it's like internal engineering. You've got to master yourself first. Okay. Like, once you master yourself first, then you can master how much money you want, what business you want.
Sean Dustin spent time in federal and state prison for drug trafficking and fraud. Upon release in 2006, he had nothing but the clothes on his back, a bag of mail, and legal paperwork. In 2010, he kicked a long-time methamphetamine habit and started the long climb back up the ladder of life. This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast. If you want transparency and authenticity, you're in the right place. This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast, and this is Sean Dustin.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Vision 2020 Consulting and Coaching, LLC. If you are in the market for resume writing services, mock interviews, and career coaching consulting, then Vision 2020 Consulting and Coaching is the service for you. Whether you are seeking new employment or you just want to level up in your current job, Vision 2020 Consulting and Coaching can help you. Shaitan Smith can offer you a free 30-minute strategy session to create a blueprint of how she can help you reach your professional goals. Just mention that you are responding to the ad that you heard on the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast to get your free 30-minute strategy session. You can find Shaitan on her website, www.shaitansmith.com, or you can check out her social media channels on Instagram and Facebook at Get Job Ready with Shaitan. You can also email her at shaitan@shaitansmith.com. So what are you waiting for? Vision 2020 Consulting and Coaching, LLC is ready to help guide you to the next level. All relevant links are available in the show notes. What's up, everybody? Thanks for stopping by the show. If this is your first time listening, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. It's good to have you with us. Today's kind of a big day. It's November 29th, and it's the first day of Indie Pods United Virtual Summit. And I just want to say a big shout out and a thanks to all of the founders of this event. I'm one of them included. Just for coming together and rocking it to get this thing up and going and ready to roll in 2 months. We had a lot of people that pitched in and helped to make this event what it is, from the entertainment to all of the podcasts. We have over 100 events lined up for the next 5 days. So it's not too late to get tickets for this event. Go to www.indiepodsunited.com. There you'll find all the information that you need to purchase tickets for the free event, and also you get your tickets for the free portion of this event, and then you can also buy an all-access pass to all of the workshops and all of the entertainment. We've got comedians from Saturday Night Live. We got some other stuff going on too. So, I mean, it's definitely a show worth checking out. So if nothing else, just head on over to www.indiepodsunited.com and see for yourself. All links will be available in the show notes. If you're getting value out of the content that I'm producing, please try and help return some of that value by subscribing, rating, and reviewing on your favorite podcast platform. Doesn't take any money, just a little bit of your time. That's it. If you want to support the show monetarily, you can do that as well. All of that information is available in the show notes. Or you can just go to my link tree, which is linktr.ee/nowhere to go but up. And all of the links to help support the show, to my social media, YouTube channel, everywhere that I'm at, or actually everywhere that the show is at, is available in that link tree. My guest today is Neil Young. Neil is a peak performance coach who helps successful entrepreneurs push past their limits to create even more freedom in their lives. This episode is another one from early May, and we don't talk about too much of the situation that we found ourselves in at that time. This is more of a introducing me to his coaching style, and he actually runs me through a couple of exercises, which are really cool. I have to go back and re-listen to this episode again so I can start writing down some of the stuff that that we worked on. Neil's claim to fame actually is he did 22 Tony Robbins events over 22 consecutive months, and he's also he's in 3 years into the Platinum Partnership program that Tony Robbins offers, which is not cheap. So yeah, he definitely knows his stuff, and it was a great conversation, a good interview. I really enjoyed it. I hope you will too. So enough of me. Let's get to the show. This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast, and I'm your host, Sean Dustin. Today I'm talking with Neil Young. Neil has a website. It's called Alpha or Advanced Alpha, and he's a 34-year-old British Indian guy that's he lived in Dubai for 30 years, and you've completed 22 Tony Robbins events. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of Tony Robbins. What's up, Neil?
Hey, Sean, thank you so much for having me on. How are you?
I'm good. Just getting the day started here.
Awesome. Whereabouts in the States are you?
I'm in Northern California, near the Bay Area, or in the Bay Area, but on the eastern part of it.
Okay, cool.
Where are you?
I was in the Bay Area in March for a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within event, but it got cancelled because of the coronavirus. So I was lucky to make it out and get back to Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai, man. That's that when I hear about Dubai, or the things that I've seen, about Dubai and how they generate their own weather, they seed the clouds and they make it rain, and it's just like a crazy place in the desert.
Yeah, Dubai is like, I really kind of describe it to people as like a business. Dubai is a brand, and they're all about being the best, having the best this, the biggest that. They've got the tallest tower in the world, and they're always looking to be like setting the standard for the world. So anytime I hear some crazy new initiative like cloud seeding, I'm not surprised at all. And actually, I mean, it's now May in Dubai, 1st of May, and it should be like going into summer now. But we've had some crazy winds and rain, and you just don't expect it. It just comes out of nowhere. And it's a bit daunting sometimes because you don't know what to expect. So, but yeah, it's a nice place to live.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe one of these days I'll end up out there, or visit out there. But
you do. Please give me a shout.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit about Tony Robbins. I mean, I know he's a motivational speaker. He's like the pioneer of this space, personal development. And, there's probably a couple of guys before him, but I mean, really, when when I think of personal development, Tony Robbins is the first name that pops into my head. How did you?
100%. Yeah, so I can tell you how I got into him, and I really like what you just said about how there's been people before him too. There's a really good quote I like called "We all standing on the shoulders of giants." So Tony has come up with a lot of his own content, but a lot of his stuff he's learned from his mentors, and those mentors learned from their mentors. So a lot of this stuff has been around for ages. It's just been kind of passed on, and people kind of craft it into their own style.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the what would I call it? The paying for mentorship. I mean, I understand the concept. All right, I get it. But I mean, as a guy that doesn't have a lot of money to spend on stuff, and I know people go, well, what, you don't have money to spend on your bettering yourself or taking yourself to the next level. So there's a lot of different people out there. I mean, there are people that have great jobs. I do have a great job, but I mean, my where I live, I mean, it's just not. To ask me to pay you $1,000 for coaching, that's pretty steep for just a regular average guy, And so it's like I'm toying with the options of is it some? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of money
I 100% get what you mean, and so for myself, whenever I'm setting goals in education, like I've got role models in each area of my life: business, finance, health, relationships. And for the people who are like at the top of their game, top of their industry, they've got like a syllabus or a program that kind of defines what their philosophy is about. And then they have like different pricing points to deliver that content to their audience. So myself, I've got like free PDF courses that I hand out. Then I have like some higher price courses. Then I go into my group coaching, and then I go into my one-on-one coaching. Tony Robbins is the same. Like, to get one-on-one coaching with him, it's $1 million a year. Plus he takes 10% of your company. Like that's the only way you can work with him. Then he's got his platinum partnership program that I've been a part of now for 3 years. That's like $100K a year membership. So that's like his top membership club there. Then he's got his events. Then he's got some online courses. Then he's got some products and books. So I can understand what you're saying. I think it just depends like what stage you're at, when I was first starting out. So just to kind of tell you how I created my company, Advanced Alpha, came up with my philosophies around goal setting and changing your human behavior. I'm doing a lot of work myself. It started when I was 4 years old. My parents were living in Dubai. I had this infection on my ankle. It's like a very like pussy lump, and it kept on traveling up and down my body. And the doctors were very concerned. It's like some odd disease. And they were worried it might go to my heart and it might kill me. But luckily it went down to my ankle. They operated, and I was bedridden for 2 months. So I lost a ton of weight, really like just small and weak in my bed. I remember this one moment, my parents looking at me saying, "Oh, our little boy, poor little boy, he's so weak and helpless." I just remember those two emotions, weak and helpless. And I was thinking, oh, I'm weak and helpless. And I recovered, but for the next 20 years of my life, I just felt weak and helpless. And I felt that kind of just went into everything I did. Like I wasn't my own man. Okay, like I copied all my friends. I was always in the background. I copied my parents who said, work hard, go to college, get a job, and that's what I did for the next 20 years. Then fast forward to my mid-20s, I was back in Dubai after college. I was working for a contractor. I was a quantity surveyor, which means you spend a lot of time in front of the PC. And I had a panic attack at work. I couldn't breathe at all. I was like, whoa, I'm freaking out. I jumped in my car, left the office, went to the beach. I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm feeling suicidal. Like, what is happening? And that's when I realized my body had had enough. Like, your body is all about the emotions that you're holding. And your body's like, this is not you. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. Why are you doing this? It's like my body just woke up and said, listen to your heart. What does your heart say? And I had like a big epiphany. It's like, right, I need to change things. I was pretty close to my dad. I didn't talk to my dad for like a year. I changed my peer groups, because before it was just like drinking and drugs all the time. Changed a lot of my peer groups. And like you said, how do you pay for like $1,000 for coaching versus just reading a book? the first podcast I listened to was Entrepreneur on Fire by John Lee Dumas. My favorite podcast. I was listening to that every day, doing my morning power walks on the beach. Then, as I started to learn some new skills, I started my own business, earned a little bit of money. Then I paid, I think it was $400 a month to join a virtual mastermind with an entrepreneur in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was in a virtual group there, around 10 other entrepreneurs. I was in there for 2 years. They really upped my game, took me to a new level. Okay, and also in our business, we managed to 10x it. We've got a construction business. And then I got some more money in. And then I thought, fine, what's the next level? So that's when I went to my first Tony Robbins event in Vegas in 2017. That's his platinum partnership. I was like, wow, this is like super, super expensive. Do I want to be doing this? But I just knew peer group is everything. Who you hang around, you become. And I just joined it, and it's just been a blessing. And kind of Tony Robbins, as two other speakers, Joe Dispenza and Sadhguru, that's what my philosophy is based on. And what I do is I help business owners get the results they want really quickly without having to break themselves. It's not just all grind and hustle. You can get a result and enjoy yourself along the way too. And I've got an excellent goal setting technique that if you're up for it, I'd love to do like a live demonstration with you now.
Yeah. Let's go.
Cool. So what's a result that you want in your life at the moment? Like what's the one goal that's most important to you at the moment?
Like career wise, or does it have to be career? Does it have to be personal? I mean, what, or does it not matter? Or, what's more applicable in this situation?
It's a great question. Every time I do goal setting, I look at 8 life categories. I look at business, business, finance, health, relationships, education, play, environment, and contribution. Those are the 8 areas I look at. And basically, what's most important for you at the moment? I'm sure you've got multiple goals, but if you had to pick one, which goal would you want to come true?
I would say, for me right now, the most important thing and that I'm working on is trying to transition from what I currently do into making this full time for me.
So if you had to clarify that, would it be, I want to have a really successful podcast?
Yeah, I would like to turn this into a successful podcast where I can get out of what I'm doing, because my body's not going to be able to take it for another, I retire in 20, maybe 18 years, and I'm 47. So, I mean, I'm in the construction. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm in the construction industry. And so, but my body's just not going to be able to handle it for another 18 years. You know what I mean? It's a young man's game. And so I need to find something that I can transition into, out of that. Okay,
cool. So I feel like you know what you want. It's really important that we clarify it really distinctly. And what I do with a lot of my clients to get them to clarify it really well is, you've seen the movie, what's it called? Have you seen the movie called Aladdin with the genie?
I think maybe. I know the movie. I'm not sure if I actually ever saw it.
So there's the old one with the genie, who's Robin Williams, and there's the latest version where Will Smith plays the genie. But just imagine this genie comes to you, and it's like, Sean, you've got a magic wish. Okay, I'm going to give it to you, and you've got to tell him really clearly what you want to magically appear. So how would you describe it in like a really short sentence? Examples could be, I want to transition from my current job to a successful podcast.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So before we focus on this goal, we need to understand the human needs. So what I've learned from these 22 Tony Robbins events and multiple other speakers, I've noticed a pattern. There's need of the heart, the body, the mind, and the spirit. That we start off with the need of the heart, which is contribution. Okay, so the need of the heart is to contribute. So whatever result you want in your life, whether it's in your business, finances, health, you need to give from your heart. Okay? So, and the way you satisfy the heart's need of contribution is to set an intention. Saying, I want this result in this area of life, which you clarify, which is great. Step 1 done. The second human need is the body. In order for the body to be satisfied, the need of the body is love and connection. And that means the body wants to feel good. It wants to feel good feelings, okay? That's why we stay comfortable most of the time. Okay, so the body wants to feel good feelings. The third human need is the mind. So the mind's all about certainty. And the way the mind gets certainty is by having physical things. I want money. I want a girlfriend, boyfriend. I want food. I want shelter. I want water. I want this new car. The mind wants physical things to give it certainty, okay? The final need is the spirit. Again, the need of the spirit is growth, and the way the spirit gets satisfied is doing things. So any verb, like working or on the computer or talking like we are now, just keeping busy keeps the spirit happy. So to clarify, the heart is wanting, the body is feeling, the mind is having physical things, and the spirit is doing things. Want, feel, have, do. So that satisfies all of your needs if you're doing that. And so we want to come up with an incantation or like a sentence where we get your goal and we put that into a sentence where it satisfies all four of your human needs. Want, feel, have, do. So we're going to do a sentence together, and I want you to finish the sentence in your own words, okay? I can probably guess what you need the sentence to be, but you need to come up with the words, because what some words mean for me will have completely different meaning for you. You know, so you need to come up with your own, like if you said the word epic, for me, that's got a meaning. It's got a different meaning for you, you know? So let's do this together. So I'm going to say a sentence. All I want you to do is to repeat the sentence after me. Okay?
Okay.
So in my business,
I
want to transition from my current job to a successful podcast. So that I feel, fill in the blank.
So that I feel
What's the emotion
secure.
in one word? Secure. Okay, let's stop there. So you've clarified the emotion that you want to feel. And by the way, if you think, actually, I want to change it, we can come back later. It's important we just do it in one go, get it done, and then later on in your own time, you can go back to it and think, I can change it. So at the moment, we've got, in my business, I want to transition from my current job to a successful podcast so that I feel secure. And then the second half of the sentence will be like this. In my business, I want to transition from my current job to a successful podcast so that I feel secure and have tons of this physical resource so that I'm able to do more of this. Okay? So are you able to finish the sentence now?
Yeah. So in my business, oh shit.
I want to transition.
Okay, in my business, I want to transition from my current job to a successful podcast,
so that I feel secure. And have tons of what physical resource?
Have tons of time.
So that I'm able to do more of what?
So I'm able to spend more time with my daughter and more time raising my daughter.
Love it. So I love what you just did. The last part saying raising my daughter. A lot of people, when I do this goal setting exercise with them, they'll say, oh, I want tons of money so I can do whatever I want. And it kind of doesn't work like that. Have you read the book called by Stephen Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
No, but that name keeps popping up and everybody, it's like, I should read it.
Yeah. It's like one of the first, it's like the first personal development book I ever read. I read it when I was like 14 and it's been around a long time. He's like one of the godfathers. So like he's probably around the same time as Tony Robbins. So basically, you said, oh, I want to raise my daughter. A lot of other people might say, oh, I want to do whatever the hell I want, live a certain lifestyle. Stephen Covey says, when it comes to the need of the spirit, imagine you have a quarterly board meeting with God. And at that board meeting with God, he's going to ask you, Sean, what have you been up to? I've given you life. I've given you all of these resources. What have you done with it? And it's got to be something more than yourself. You know, it's got to be for something bigger. So the fact you said for your daughter, I'm super impressed. Like, you are a man of spirit, 100%. So now we've got the sentence. How do you feel about that sentence?
No, I'm, that sentence is, I mean, it says it all for me.
Cool. Awesome. So now that I do this sentence with people, they say, great. It's a great sentence. I love it. I love for that to happen. How do we make it happen? How do we execute it? So here's how we execute it. The first half of the sentence is like your internal needs. The need of the heart saying, I want this. The need of the body saying, I want to feel this. That's your internal needs, okay? So you've got a want, which gives you motivation, and the feeling of feeling secure will help you enjoy the journey, okay? So that's internally, you're sorted. The second half, okay, is all externally. This is like, it's all about the results that you can show to society and the world saying, look, I've achieved this goal. And you've clarified time as your physical metric. I want to have lots of time, and helping your daughter, okay, as your doing metric. So here we've clarified two metrics that you need to focus on in order to achieve your goal. So you need to focus on freeing up your time, okay, during the day. So that needs to increase. And then also spending more time with your daughter, that needs to increase, okay? A lot of people just focus on a physical metric. So you've got time, other people might have money or sales or clients, and they get pretty depressed when that number doesn't increase. So it's really important to focus on the doing metric first, spending time with your daughter. Because as you spend more time with your daughter and raise her well, your physical metric of time will increase, okay? And just from having worked with a lot of people, I do these incantation sentences for each area of life, okay? And just from doing it myself and working with other clients, I know that if you focus on time and spending time with your daughter, you won't reach that goal. Okay, those aren't the right metrics. I still think you want more time and spending more time with your daughter, but that will come under another section of life, like relationships or play or contribution, okay? So it's still something that's going to be in your life, but it'll be under a different section. With regards to your business or finance goal of having a job that doesn't kill me, you know, we need to come up with some different metrics, which might be number of staff, number of sales, number of clients, you know, adding more value to people. Like, you come up with different metrics. So I've got a whole process for it. I've got a whole process for this goal setting process. But yeah, that kind of sums it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So my, you know, let's go a little bit further than that. So, so what you're kind of explaining to me is, and setting up is intention.
The first part of this sentence is your intention.
Yeah.
What you want, this satisfies your heart. The second part of the sentence is a feeling secure in your case, which satisfies your body. The third part is satisfying your mind, which is having something physical. The mind is all about security, you know, and safety and certainty. You want something physical. You've identified time, and then the spirit's all about doing. And you've said spending time with your daughter, which is fantastic.
And so that gets shoved over or placed over into the relationship part of whatever your model is, the 8 or 7 different areas in your model. And so in order to achieve any of that, the financial piece of it has to really come first, right? And
100%.
And so in order to do that, so there's for me, a lot of, I know, what the space that we're in, but the media part of what we do, right? The social media part of what really it takes to grow any of these podcasts, coaching businesses, know, any of these, platforms, really rely heavily on social media. So if you don't know how to really harness social media and play that game, so is that another, so here's my thing. It's like, I got a bunch of parts in my, components that I'm not skilled in. I'm very skilled in this part of what I do and the editing, but it's the other things that to grow are difficult for me because I'm like, well, where do I start? And what works? What's a tag word? What's a keyword? And how do those work? And so would it be something like, all right, well, now I got to have a coach for this, and then I need to have another coach for social media, and before you know it, it's like, well, where's the one-stop shop? Where can I just go, for one stop and just do it all there? Does that even exist?
I totally get what you're saying I need to learn this, I need to learn that. Like, there's a lot of focus on these physical things I need to help me get to where I am. The process that I've just done with you, if we did it for each area of your life, all 8 areas, we'd come up with 8 different intentions, 8 different feelings, which is basically identities that you need to shift to, depending on what you're doing. If it's a health goal, you might shift to a health identity. Finance goal, you shift to like a finance identity or feeling. So you'd have 8 intentions, 8 feelings, 8 physical resources that can help you, and 8 things that you need to do to show you're making progress, And once you kind of do that over and over again, and you get them solid, okay, then that's all you need to focus on. Because otherwise it gets extremely overwhelming. Like you just said, I've got to get sales and social media, I've got to do the editing, I've got to do this, I've got to learn how to do this, it just gets super overwhelming. So this goal-setting process I just talked about, it clarifies 8 intentions, 8 feelings, 8 physical things to focus on, and 8 things to do. It keeps your life very simple, and you don't get overwhelmed by everything. And everything kind of fits into place. But then just going back to what you said about social media, it's a big thing now, especially with the coronavirus and how everything's going virtual. Like, networking is a massive thing, all the success I've had in my coaching business, I've had it from organic social media. I haven't used any paid ads yet. Next week, I've got some ads going live, but I've gone to 6 figures by just doing organic. And it's literally just, I post like 3 posts a week. Okay. I'm contacting the people who like my posts, who comment on it. I'm also posting stuff in other groups, just looking to add value to people. And I noticed you said something about the finance aspect. And when it comes to doing a finance incantation, satisfying your financial needs so you get the financial goal that you want, I've noticed a pattern with like all the people that I work with. Let's say you had I always like to reverse engineer goals. So let's say you had like $1 billion. Like, what would you do with $1 billion?
Pay off debt, get a secure place, to be, and then invest.
Okay. So let's say you do all of that, and then you've got like $980 million left. What are you going to do with it?
Get a better studio, hire people to hire a team, basically, to, that can turn what I need, into, if you listen to the Rogan podcast, get a Jamie, first of all, that can be behind the scenes and knows how to do all of the things that like I kind of know how to do. It's like I'm proficient, but not professional.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's things that could be being done that I like I just know the basics, to actually get the thing going, get it out there. It sounds okay, or maybe a little bit better than okay. Just fine tune it and polish it up and pay a staff or find people to, that want to be a part of what I'm doing and work something out.
100%. And I think a team is so important. I'm really good with people. Like, I'm good at sales and marketing and delivering my coaching and masterminds to clients. I've got an assistant that helps me with the back end, But the point I was trying to make is that you'd have that $1 billion, you spend a couple of million, and you're going to have a ton left over. You're like, I've still got like $950 million left over. What do I do with it? And what people do with like a ton of money, they spend it on themselves, then they'll spend it on their family, then they'll spend it on their friends, they'll spend it on more people. They've still got a ton left, So you just got to keep on giving it away. And basically what that is, it's adding value. You're adding value to people through money, So any one of my clients that comes to me and says, right, I've got this money goal, I want to make 6 figures, 7 figures, I tell them, don't focus on money. Focus on your resources. Money is a resource, okay? And there's 4 types of resources. The first is capital. Well, let's say the first is labor, which is your time. The second is land. The next one is entrepreneurship, making a business. And the fourth one is capital. The last one's capital, you know? So you need to focus on the resources that you have. You have your labor, your time. You know, you can be productive with your time. Then you've got like land, which is like kind of physical things. So it could be real estate, or if you're a chef, for example, you know, you could be taking ingredients and turning into a dish, or even in construction, you're taking raw materials plus that labor, you know, and you're turning it into something, you know. So you've got to be really productive with your time, with the physical resources that you have, and you can start a business and get more of those resources and labor together, and then you start to make the money. And then when you've got the capital, you can start to invest it. So to go back to what you said before about, oh, you need all this money to do all this, you've got to really start out lean. In fact, there's a really good book I read called The Lean Startup. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm. I'm not a really big reader. That's okay. Another one of my issues, you know, just procrastination and just being lazy in some areas, like not wanting to read, not wanting to write, because it's time consuming and it's like a commitment. You know, maybe that's just it's a commitment thing. You know, when you start a book, I mean, you're committing yourself to, you know, to doing something. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like when I start a book and I like just don't even, you know, I'll start it and never get back to it. That's to me, that's a self-defeating, feeling, you know, it's like, and so I just avoid it. You know, I avoid even trying to read something because I know in my mind, I know you're not going to finish it. So why even bother starting?
Yeah, fair enough. That could be a belief that could stop you from doing it. Have you tried doing audiobooks?
No, I haven't really looked into it. I mean, I think I started, same thing. I started it, and the only thing I'm consistent about listening to is podcasts, and probably because it's what I'm into and it's what I'm interested in, you know?
Nice. Yeah, totally get it. Cool. So, what's your focus at the moment? So is your focus on transitioning from this, from your current job to a podcast full time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just plugging away at, you know, getting, interviews like this and talking with people that interest me. And like, I've got a queue right now of 40 episodes after today.
Nice.
You know, so I mean, literally I've been doing on Thursdays and Fridays because it's the only time that I have available. The rest of the week is either, you know, with my daughter or, you know, right now I'm not even working. So, I mean, I'm lucky that I was able to get on disability when this thing started. Yeah. And,
welcome.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've just been focusing on that time, like just loading up, my days, those 2 days full of conversations, you know, with authors, coaches, you know, anybody that kind of aligns with what I'm doing, but it's also for this kind of interaction because it's allowing me to talk to people and ask the questions that I want answers to, you know, that I don't understand. You know, how it works and, you know, did it work for you? And you know what I mean? Cause I'm skeptical. Yeah. You know, so it's just, I don't know. And I think a lot of people may be. So, you know, me having the conversation with you, I'm sure this has gone through a lot of people's heads in this space.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, I think you've asked some really good questions, and I just love podcasts too, because like it's just bringing two people together, interesting stories. Like when I read your story in the Facebook group that you posted on, it just really resonated with me straight away. I think the reason you've got 40 interviews lined up is because it resonates with a lot of people. You know, like there's always that story, which is beautiful, like from hardship to something better, you know, and it's a constant thing. People just love stories in health and business and family, you know, so kudos to you, man. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's always good to get some feedback. And funny thing is that I struggle in every single one of those areas. And I think that's part of why is because I talk about it. I mean, my own, like I'm not afraid to talk about things that are affecting me, from my health, my weight, you know what I mean? That I struggle with weight. I go up and down all the time. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself obese. by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, well, the BMI index says that I am,
Yeah. I mean, the BMI index it can be misleading. Like I'm very fit, and I'm tall too. But yeah, it says I'm overweight on it. And then I know it says The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's like massively obese according to that test. So
yeah.
it's not always accurate. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I know, like even now, it's like, I have health goals. Like, I started once we got locked in, and I'm busy doing this stuff here. It's like, I really haven't had time to like make something. So I'm just grabbing whatever I have, chips, that stuff that I know I shouldn't be eating. I've lost weight before. I was on keto for a while. That worked out. That's not a sustainable diet because it's really hard to eat that much fat.
Yeah.
You would think it would be easy, but it's pretty Difficult. It's like 85% fat, 85 fat, 10 protein, and 5 carbs.
Yeah, I mean it's a ton of fat. I did it for like 2 years, but every couple of months I'd kind of go back to having carbs because I work out twice a day. I'm a big squash player, do yoga. I go for a run with my dogs, and you need carbs, But what I focus on is low glycemic carbs. So carbs that have lots of fiber, it just stops your blood sugar from going really high. That's a big focus there. And one kind of realization. So just doing our incantations, we did one for your business. When I do one for my health thing is, I want to have an amazing health routine so that I feel powerful and have tons of energy so that I'm able to build more muscle. I said what the goal is. The reason I want it is so that I feel powerful. If I feel powerful, I will have tons of energy. That's my physical metric. And then I'll be able to build more muscle, look after my body. And what I found with energy is that you need very little from food. And the biggest thing I found with regards to losing weight is your breathing. If you want energy, just breathe properly. And we spend so much time sitting down or just static positions where you're breathing. Because basically, anytime you're like static, your brain's telling your body like, oh, we're relaxing now, so reduce the breathing. We don't need to breathe as much, and then it kind of goes into chill mode, rest mode. And then your breathing gets really shallow, and then it's really hot. That's when you start getting comfortable. You're like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything, so I'll order a pizza. I'll get some chips, So breathing is super important.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about what you're saying right now, and as you're saying it, I'm going, yeah, I do breathe shallow all the time.
Yeah, here's a breathing technique that I learned. It's very easy. It's you breathe in for, what's the ratio? It's 1, 4, 2. That's the ratio. So if you breathe in for 5 seconds, you hold your breath for 20 seconds, and then exhale for 10 seconds. Or you could do breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 16 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. It's a ratio of 1, 4, 2. And if you do that a few times, you will notice that, it's very rare that I hold my breath, I can see you're doing it now, actually. Awesome.
No, these are all things that, they're in the back of it's all in the back of my head, right? Like all of this stuff, like you need to read more, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's so really what it feels like that you're kind of explaining to me is that you have to, because we have so many things that are in our mind, right? In our, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. That a lot of times that we forget about what it is that we're doing this and that for, right?
Yeah.
And so once and a lot of times out of sight is out of mind, right? Something's not in front of you and you're not consciously telling yourself or reminding yourself of your goals, right? So I mean, that's really what what it sounds like to me that you're doing. So, and you do this in 8 parts of your life. So like, let's just say in the morning when I wake up and I, take a shower, I'm in the mirror, and I would say 2 or 3 of these intentions as I get ready to walk out the door. And so now from the beginning of the day, okay, it's on my mind, it's, and I'm going. So in the middle of the day, okay, you say some other ones, or maybe you say the same ones, whichever one you're working on at that particular time, you know what I mean, in your life. It could be the health part of it. All right, so I need to. Does that make sense? Is that really what you're?
100%. You're a man after my own heart. That's what I do every morning. I write out on my phone, in my notes on my phone. I write out the 8 incantations, and then throughout the day, so while I'm talking with you, I might be saying like contribution or relationship incantations in my head. And then when I'm doing my workout, or if I'm working with my team, or if I'm reading, or any other activity, I think I just switch to one of those 8. Depending which situation in my life is relevant at the time. So like super important. I always love to tell people you need to have these memorized, because this is your life. Okay, when things are going good, you're comfortable, things are safe. Then all good. You don't need to be like prepared or anything. But then as soon as like the shit hits the fan, and things start to go bad, you will panic. And you need to know all the feelings you want to feel, all the physical resources you have to help you, what you need, what you're able to do. You need to know that, so that when the shit hits the fan, you're ready. You think, right, I'm not going to be affected. Now's the perfect time. Like, if you have this memorized, you won't be affected by the coronavirus. You won't be affected by all the people that are just panicking and terrified about the future. You will be unaffected by it. I mean, that's what brings us down. I would say it's like internal engineering. You've got to master yourself first. Okay, like once you master yourself first, then you can master how much money you want, what business you want, spending more time with your daughter, doing this. And I always like to use an analogy of a car, saying human beings, we haven't been taught how to use ourselves. Like the human body and the human experience is a tool, really. And I liken it to a car, that the heart is the driver. Okay, you're driving the car. Then the specs, okay, of the car, like all the detailed specs of the car, that's the mind, like all the physical things. And then the type of car, big car, small car, sports car, SUV, what color is it? Blue, yellow, green, that's like the feelings. That's the personality of the car, okay? And then finally, the spirit is where it's going, the destination, And I think a lot of people know what color they want. They know the specs, and they know where they're going. A lot of the time, it's driverless. Like people aren't just thinking, right, I know exactly what I want. I'm super focused. They think, oh, these people like these kind of colors of car. I'll go along with that. I'll be part of the herd and say, oh, I like this kind of car. These people like this spec of car. I'll go along with them. I like this spec of car. And people can be like sheep because it's easier, like, oh, I'll be part of this group because they like this. I'll be part of this group because they like this. It's just easier way to operate. Whereas if you look at the true leaders in the world, they are, no, I'm not going to follow the herd. I know what I want, I guarantee you, if you come up with 8 incantations, like you already done one, which is like, I want to transition from, and the fact you're doing this podcast already means that you're a leader, because you're doing this by yourself, nobody else is like with you on this. So, bravo.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And also another thing that actually can help with, as I'm thinking about it and you're explaining it and you're talking is, if you have these incantations constantly going in your mind, then it doesn't allow any space for negative self-talk, that self-defeating thing that we have that, you can't do that. What makes you think you can do that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You don't have time for any internal chatter. Like I said, that incantation, it's in 2 halves. The first part, which is the want and the feeling, that's your internal self. If you clarify exactly what you want, exactly like you said, You won't have time to have any of this negative internal talk. And then the second part of the sentence, which is focusing on like more the physical part of the world, physical things and what you do. If you focus on what you want to have or what you want to do, then you won't get distracted. You won't get distracted by somebody saying, oh, let's go for a beer. You're like, I don't want to focus on that. You know, you won't get distracted by saying, oh, let's go do this or do that or be naughty or something. You're like, no, I'm doing my thing here. You know, so you've got it spot on. And I just feel like the more I'm talking, like you're really catching on pretty quick. Like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. That will be beneficial to, I'm sure, a lot of people that are going to listen, that, you know, struggle with that. You know, I'm sure we all struggle with things. You know, life isn't perfect for everybody. And even the people that it appears to be perfect for, it probably isn't. You know, we're all just trying to be better people than we were yesterday. I hope.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
You know, so is there anything else you want to, we're at about 43 right now. I got another one at 9. So, you want to plug any of your stuff? You, want to, you know?
Yeah. So basically everything, like this whole goal setting exercise that I just did with you, I've got a free PDF course I'm giving away just so people understand the basic concept and they can do it themselves. So if you visit my website, advancedalpha.ae, there's a tab for a free download. So you can download it there. And also, if you have any questions after listening to this episode, please feel free to email me at Neil, Neil, at advancedalpha.ae, and I can answer any questions that you have.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. And thanks for thanks for running through that, man. I mean, honestly, I'd always wanted like a coach person to do that. I just never felt like asking, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like asking me to do something like, hey, or like going to a restaurant and saying, hey man, can I get a free burger? You know what I mean? And if it's good, I'll tell my people about it. No, I can totally get it. And some advice I'd say about getting a coach, make sure they're promising you like an outcome. Okay. A lot of people go into coaching saying, oh, I'll get better and stuff. If you're going to get a coach, because there's a lot of people out there, they'll say, oh, come coach with me, you know, but it's all about outcomes. You want results, you know, like you said, go order a burger, you want a burger, you know, you don't want somebody to talk about a burger, say how great a burger is. You want the burger. Yeah. How do I get the burger?
Yeah.
I don't want to know how it feels to eat it, or, you know, I want to experience it.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, if you could, drop me an email, with everything that you want to appear in the show notes, as well as a picture of yourself for the promo art. And, as soon as I'm done with it, I'll shoot it back to you and you can use it to, post on all your social media channels.
Beautiful.
All
That's
right.
good.
All right. Well, thank you, Neil, man. I appreciate it. This was a great episode. And I got some homework to do now.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, man. Hey, have a good weekend.
See ya. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast. Sean is a single dad, a union blue-collar guy, and he spent time in federal and state prison for drug trafficking and fraud. When he was released from prison in 2006, all he had was the clothes on his back, a bag of mail, and some paperwork. Since then, he's turned his life around and shares the struggles and successes on this podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you were moved. To connect to the show, book a guest spot. For merch, Patreon, PayPal, and social media links, go to linktr.ee/nowhere to go but up. On Instagram at Nowhere to Go But Up Now. On Twitter at But Up Now. On the YouTube channel at Nowhere to Go But Up Podcast. See you next time.